Okay, today we're drilling soybeans. So we've got our tractor and our soybean drills, and then the gray box on the left is a seed tender, so we don't have to swing bags anymore. That's what gets you buff, is swinging bags. That's what I used to be. Now, just kidding. I'm skinny, but it kept you skinny. Now I'm adding a few pounds because this thing pumps the seed and loads this thing for me. Okay, so some of you guys are interested in the mechanics of things. But we have these levers. There's 4 sections here. This is what adjusts our rate. There's a chart, and you're doing pounds per acre. And you know how many seeds per pound. That's always labeled on the box. So you have to adjust that as your seed size changes. And that's going to adjust how much of these teeth are showing. And rolling the beans out of the box above it, they fall down this tube and into our seed boot, and I'm going to wiggle that so you can see it, and then it drops out of that into the ground. Here's a better view. So the tube down here, and that's going to flow into this seed boot, and the seeds are going to fall out of the bottom of this boot. And just like the corn planter, if you watch that video, we've got a gauge wheel. This is going to control the depth. We have an opener. Notice there's only one on the drill here. It's going to open the slot that the seed actually is going to drop into. You've got a press wheel that's going to run on top of that seed and give a good seed to soil contact. And then at the back here, we have a closing wheel that's going to push dirt back inside of that trench and close everything up. So that line ahead of me is my marker mark, and that tells me where to drive and ensures the proper row spacing. And that is left by that marker right there, and that's making the marker mark for my next pass around. Now everything's monitored here for me. On this tells us our seed rate, and I can actually look at the rate of each section and work on getting those nice and consistent. It tells me the number of acres I've applied and all of that fun stuff. So it's going to bob around a little bit because remember, we're using seeds per pound to figure out our population per acre, and then we're adjusting those teeth back there so it doesn't actually place individually each seed on a plate like a corn planter would. So it's more of a controlled spill is how a lot of guys describe drills, and that's pretty accurate. We can get within a few pounds to the acre and get things pretty consistent, but it's not going to be as even of a placement as like the corn planter, but it still gets the job done. So I don't have my co-pilot today, so it's a little tougher doing the camera work and running this, so the quality's not going to be as good. And I promise you guys, I will keep these short and not have you ask any questions. But here's some shots of this thing operating. They focus on maybe one of those row units. I know it's kind of far away, but you can sort of see that rolling through the ground there. And anyway, this is what we're doing. Plant beans. I'm not going to get a chance maybe to film getting out and digging these things up. I'm going to keep this thing rolling today. I'm trying to get this field done in between a couple of rains. I couldn't start today until we had some sunshine because of some sprinkles this morning. And it's supposed to rain again tomorrow, so that's all part of the fun. Alright, so this is the same piece of equipment that you would use to, say, sow wheat, or you can even use it for peas, oats. Today we're using it for soybeans, so it does have multiple uses and multiple purposes. One of the reasons we can get by with drilling soybeans is, unlike a corn plant, they'll tend to kind of bush out and fill in the space that's given to them. So even though we're not as consistent on our spacing, it doesn't matter, because the way those plants grow, they can kind of make up for that. All right, so one of the things I think is really cool, you know, we're shooting for about 200,000 seeds per acre, and this is a kind of a big bean today, so we've got about 2,500 seeds per pound. So I think it's just kind of interesting trivia and really cool. Like, if you hadn't thought about that, like, you know, that's a fairly big seed. I mean, there'd be as many as, you know, sometimes like 3,400 seeds in a pound for some really small soybeans. You know, these are big ones today, so 2,500. I saw some great big ones that were close to 2,000 seeds in just 1 pound of material there. So kind of interesting when you think about it. I mean, that is a lot of stuff in just a small quantity. So I don't know if you guys can see those real well in the camera, but there are 3 deer out here, and that's just kind of neat. You get to see a lot of wildlife doing this stuff. They don't seem to mind the equipment much. Oh, right, so I'm not actually drilling right now. I'm just headed my way to the other side of the field. The beeping is the monitor getting angry that I'm not putting seed in the ground. But just to give you guys an example, I'm from a production ag background. The reason we cover so many different types of topics in class is, you know, today I replaced a carburetor on a small engine, a blower motor, and a tractor. That the AC was working, but the blower motor wasn't, so our operator couldn't get cold air into the cab, and that thing was heating up on him like a greenhouse. So we did these things while we had time this morning while it was raining. The other day I made a couple of minor repairs to some equipment even during the day while we were working, and there's a whole business aspect behind all this that you guys don't get to see. So, you know, just today I've got to be an electrician, a mechanic, and an equipment operator, and a little bit of a manager, you know, figuring out seed rates and doing some calculations and things like that to set the equipment up. So there's just a whole lot that goes into this. So that's why one of my favorite things about ag is just the variety, and that's one of my favorite things about teaching. And one of the reasons I ended up becoming an ag teacher was just to continue to get to enjoy and experience all of that variety that, you know, comes with the field, you know, no pun intended. So that's it for today. I will talk to you guys later. Hope you have a great summer. All right, so just in case you were wondering, yes, we did get it done. It is late at night and time to tarp the drills up and head home.